Hello, Bay Ridge. Welcome to another edition of After Hours. For those of you who paid careful attention, you may notice we're in a little bit different studio. Our offices at 1071 are shut down temporarily while we're moving into our new space, and so we're filming this from a different place. But we're glad to have everybody back. This week I want to talk about caring community. Tony did an excellent job teaching on what it means to build a caring community. And I just want to get real practical and talk about 3 different ways that we can work to knit relationships closely with one another that would then allow us to reach out to the community around us. First, I want to really encourage everyone to actually be involved in the regular ongoing meetings of the church. That means regularly being there on Sunday morning as we gather for worship so that we build relationships, but especially to gather with the small group. The purpose of the small groups is where we get together with anywhere from 3 or 4 to a dozen people. We build relationships, we get to know one another, we pray for one another, we open up with one another, and those happen usually on every week or every other week basis. And if you're not part of a small group, I really want to encourage you to be there to do that. The way that we spur one another on towards love and good deeds, as it says there in Hebrews 10:24 and 25, is that we are actually around each other. We open up to each other, and that really starts to happen in a small group. Secondly, I encourage you to look for other opportunities that we have in fellowship. We periodically get together and have a fellowship lunch after supper. We sometimes will also have like an Ironman meeting or a ladies meeting or just an opportunity for fellowship, even sometimes with the work parties. And I want to encourage you that when we're doing that, it's a great chance to come together, to build some relationships, and that broadens our community and it deepens our community. And then thirdly, not only are we gathering at the regularly planned things and then kind of the more irregularly planned things, but just getting together outside of anything that's planned in the context of the church, being with one another, have somebody over for dinner, go out to go to the zoo or to visit a museum or to go to a ball game, just hanging out with different people in the congregation. In doing that, that's not always in and of itself the sense of spurring one another on towards love and good deeds that we were talking about in the teaching, but it provides the context for that. There's something about just being around each other, spending time with one another that really opens things up. So I want to encourage you to think about that and to develop a plan. In Hebrews 10:24 and 25, we're told to consider how we spur one another on towards love and good deeds and how we can encourage one another. And that opening word there to consider is really important. Building a community doesn't just happen. We'll get busy, life will happen, we won't be with one another. But if you and I think through a plan, picking a small group to be involved, making it a priority to be there on Sundays, then coming when we have regular opportunities for fellowship through the men's meetings or fellowship luncheons, and finally, being proactive to plan on having people to come over to the house or to hang out together at various events. If we do this, we'll build the context for real community to happen. It'll help you and I grow closer in our walk with Jesus, and then in a community around us that is starving for real relationships, we together can provide an example of what that looks like, becoming a house in which God dwells by His Spirit. I hope you have a great week. I look forward to seeing everyone later on this week as we gather for worship. God bless.